By far, the number one request I've had for a video since I posted my steering wheel swap video a couple years ago is how do I make those steering wheel controls work? Well, today I'm going to show you how. First thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and knock the negative terminal off to prevent any possibility of the airbag discharging or any other issues that can happen when you're working with electricals. Okay, so you'll have to excuse me a little bit because I'm kind of doing two things at the same time here. I'm replacing my roll connector and wiring up the steering wheel controls, and that's just because my roll connector is broken. If you're doing this for yourself on your stock stereo or your aftermarket radio, you're not going to have to do all of these steps. So let me just break this down first. So, taking a look at this, looks like I took a lot of stuff off. First of all, this stuff you can keep on. Don't worry about that. What you do need to do is you need to remove this bottom panel. So all you have to do is just pop this one off. It's just 3 push pins. Pull that down, and then this console cover, I guess, pops right off. And there's a little screw at the side here that you need to undo. It's a Phillips head. The whole point of that is to get to this white connector here. And this white connector is the car side of the roll connector. So normally we have a roll connector attached here, goes through, comes on down like this, and then it plugs into this connector. Now, interestingly enough, and I'm going to show you in a second, if you flip this over, you can see that there are a lot of blank pins here. A lot of spots where you could have wires for a connector, but you don't, right? So I'm going to explain that in a second. But essentially, these connectors are all built the same, whether your car has steering wheel controls or not. And what happens is all of the wires already exist in the roll connector, no matter what your model year. And you come down and it connects here. And then on the cars that didn't come from the factory with steering wheel controls, these pins are empty. They have nothing going to the actual stereo. So our job is going to be to fill these in, or essentially take the wire from the roll connectors that already exist and just add that on the car side. So I'll show you how we're going to do that in a second. And if you see these 4 wires over here, that's because I had previously done it, and I just took it off because, like I said, I was replacing the roll connector. Anyway, we'll get to that. So as I was saying, all of the wires already exist. This is a stock wiring, stock roll connector from a 2005 Legacy GT. And this is the other side of that white connector I was showing you. And you notice there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 wires in there. The one I showed you just now probably had 4 or 5. So we're going to be adding wires on the car side so that these wires connect up to those. Now there's a couple ways to do that. One way is you can take wires and shove them into the other side connector here to try and create a wire link on the car side. Or you can actually, if you're a bit more confident, tap into these wires and run your wires off of that, and then you don't have to do anything on the other harness. It's a bit more secure, but it's also a bit more difficult to not damage anything. So my harness that I bought actually came with the other side connector here. So what I'm going to try and do is just unpin these and repin them. But again, you can just take a wire, jam it in there on the other side. That's a very easy way to do it. Or you can tap into these wires, and I'll show you which ones to do in a second. So what I've got here is a picture of the car side of the roll connector. That's the one that doesn't have anything put into these pins because my car didn't come with factory stereo controls. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and circle 4 spots here where we're going to be inserting wires. And then beside that, I'll put a label of where those wires are going. And if you have 4 different colored wires that you can use, that'll be the best thing to do. But unfortunately, I only have 1 colored wire, so I'm going to put rings to identify which. So I'm going to get back to the video. You can use this picture as a reference, and I'll show you how that's done. So the next step we're going to do is take apart the center console because we need to get to the back of our radio there. This has been shown a million times. We're going to pop the center thing off, take a screw off here, pop these 2 off, and then pull that out after we unscrew some stuff on the side. So I'm not going to get anywhere near that. I'm just going to flip to that being done. Okay, so I've taken my aftermarket stereo out there, and then for the sake of this video, I've pulled out my regular OEM stereo, and I'm going to connect everything up, and then I'm going to show how it works with one of these. After that, because there's a different procedure if you've got an aftermarket, I'm going to show how to do that. So in that reference picture, I talked about 4 wires. I talked about an orange white, a purple white, a black white, and a purple. So if you look over here at the part that connects to this connection here, you've got a bunch of wires clumped together, and you've got an orange white and a purple white. So these are what is actually going to give you the steering wheel control input into your stereo. So as I said, just like you did on the white connector there, you can go ahead and just shove the wire in where the orange white and the purple white connect, or you can do as I'm going to do, and that's actually skin the wire back, tap into the wire itself like a T-tap, and then wrap it all up, and that just makes sure that the whole thing is secure and it taps in there nicely, not going to rattle itself back out. We've got the black and white over here and the purple, and what these two are the illumination. So if you didn't connect these, all that would happen is the lights on your steering wheel wouldn't light up. But we want everything to look nice, so we're going to use the illumination as well. So same thing as that, you can shove the wire in, or you can tap into the thing itself. And I'm going to go ahead and tap in. So I've gone ahead and tapped into the orange and white and purple and white wires here, and then the black and white and purple wires there. And you can see my 4 blue wires heading over to this side here. And then I've jammed them into the white connector there and securely taped everything so that the connections come out at the bottom. So essentially, I've created the same stuff that's on the roll connector on the car side now. I'm going to pull these wires back here, secure them, make it nice and tidy, toss my roll connector on, and then connect the battery and make sure everything works. Okay, so you can see that I've gone ahead and put everything back together. I installed my aftermarket stereo again. And I was originally intending to install my OEM stereo here, show you that everything was hooked up, working. But unfortunately, because of the way I installed this speaker and the amplifier and everything, the OEM stereo wasn't really doing its thing. It wasn't really working properly. So what I've showed you in this video is all you need to do to make your OEM stereo steering wheel controls work with that and everything. And I'll show you in a second how I can prove that. But if you have an aftermarket like this, there's another step involved, and I haven't done it yet because I haven't had the time to get in there and put everything together. But I'm going to release one more video afterward that'll be a part 2 to this as to how to do steering wheel controls with an aftermarket stereo. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn my power on for a second here. Let everything boot up and turn that off. And I can show you that when I turn my lights on, everything does light up. My cruise control is working. My horn would work. The only thing that's not going to be working right now, and when I say not working, I mean the aftermarket stereo is not going to be able to interpret these signals right now, is this side here. But everything on this side works as for before. And if you have an OEM stereo, these controls will work right now. You'll have volume up, volume down. You'll be able to switch band, so AM, FM, whatever. And then I think this one switches between stations. But because I have an aftermarket stereo, I need an iDataLink SW little device there to help this stereo interpret those signals. So again, I'll do another video here where I show how to do that. But for now, if you have an OEM stereo, that's all you need to do. As you can see, the wires that we connected in the back there are allowing the illumination to work, which, as you know before, if you did the steering wheel swap, this illumination was not working, and the signal from the buttons is actually going through. It's getting through back there, and it's pretty much stopping right here. So I know there's going to be a lot of questions about this one. If you guys didn't understand anything or you want clarification on anything, let me know. I'm available to answer sometimes, and I'll try and help out as much as possible. So there you go. Those are the steps. That's all you need to do. It's really not that difficult if you've already gone through and done the steering wheel swap and you didn't have any problems with your roll connector. It just looked kind of scary because I had everything apart. But really, you're just connecting 4 wires on the roll connector side, connecting 4 wires on the stereo side, and that's it. Steering wheel controls work. Again, any questions, let me know. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.